the source. And, this is why it's important, this thing I was just talking about with the known knowns, the known unknowns, and the unknown unknowns.
Yeah.
When we, from a very small animalistic position, start to conceive of the absolute, we immediately start to put him into a framework that we understand, which is like zeros and ones, for example.
Right? The human mind can't comprehend.
Right. We understand binary logic, so we're like, okay, well, reality's binary logic. But it's not like that. One of the biggest, one of the most important terms in Sanskrit is called adhoksaja. Adhoksaja means beyond your ability to conceive, the inconceivable, the unknowable, you might say, unless he makes himself known. So when we approach reality, the cause of all causes, we have a very hard time, like for example, there are many, many dimensions in this universe, okay? Even though we know that there are many dimensions, we have a really, really hard time conceiving of what a dimension is.
We dream and then we go to another dimension.
Possibly, right?
We think we do.
Yeah.
We go, that's a bad dream.
Right. Consciousness is much more fundamental, but like even for us to conceive, like for example, what we're actually seeing with our eyes right now is 2D, and our mind is making it 3D, right? But then there's another place where you can see 3D from. Okay, that's a fourth dimension.
Yeah.
But me saying those words and you guys hearing, you probably have no ability to conceive of what that even means, right? And then if you think about 10, 12, 13 dimensions, right? It's like, what is this reality that we're in? That's just from the physical standpoint. That's not even talking about the base vibrations of reality, okay, from which it's all springing, okay? When you're dealing with God, you have to be very careful not to be like, okay, here's what he is, and I got him all locked up, and like that's, okay, that's the God thing. I'll get to him later when I'm not so busy in life, maybe when I'm like around 60 or 65.
I always think about that's the creation, basically.
Om is the vibration. Everything ultimately in reality is vibrating. So the fundamental vibration from which all vibrations spring. That's one of the biggest questions, for example, in like astrophysics or something like that. They're trying to contemplate what the heck is energy.
I feel like an animal when I try and think about what is this reality or any realities. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Kind of try to stop thinking because it kind of.
Well, ultimately, that's not the advice of the scriptures. Is to try to fit infinite reality in this little 6-inch like orb that's on our head. That's not the approach. You're not going to attain a omniscient position over reality. Okay, it's not going to fit in your little 6-inch kingdom here, right?
Exactly.
So you approach in a mood of service and surrender. That's the mood. There's some mood of actually coming into relationship with reality and moving toward love. So that's the process of bhakti yoga, that ultimately the intellect is left behind and the heart becomes the guide.
I asked that because I was thinking about that for weeks.
Well, I'm glad you asked it because, ultimately that approach of trying to trying to conceive of reality from the place of our own small experience is going to be fruitless. Yes, it has to be. Your relationship with reality should begin in a mood of serving. How may I be utilized? That's a safe question. Not, let me attain omniscience over you and figure out everything. That's like not tasteful. There's a reason why you're alive, and it's because you have something to do in service. That's to find that's the path of bhakti. Not to try and stuff it all into our head. Because you can study ants for your entire life and you're still going to be like 78 and being like just about to die. You're like, oh my God, I think I know how their legs work now. It's like like it's all infinitely mysterious. Just like, I mean, people, what are they doing? They got these gigantic colliders trying to figure out what an atom is.
Sorry. Have you seen those videos where people put a circle in between the ants and they don't walk past the lines? That kind of got me thinking a lot when I saw somebody make a TikTok about a line and the ants wouldn't pass that line because they thought it was like a wall.
Right. I mean, there's a million things about a million different points within the infinite that are infinitely interesting and amazing. But what the advice of the Vedas is, I mean, this is truly, like, think about this. This is an aphorism from many, many thousands of years ago. This is from Rig Veda. This is an old aphorism. Yasmin vigyate sarvam vigyatam bhavati. Yasmin praptim sarvam praptam bhavati. Okay, this is telling you how to search in your life. Search for that one thing, knowing which everything is known. Try to attain that one thing, attaining which everything is attained. You have to find the source. Otherwise, every tiniest part of if you find the cause, then you understand everything. Otherwise, every tiniest part of the effect is infinite. You can overthink every little thing, and you got to get out of your head and start moving in service and with your heart.
I think that's because of school. They kind of programmed you to be this way.
Maybe. Ultimately, you're going to feel a lot more happiness in your life if you take responsibility. Don't blame anybody else's programming. Don't blame anything. You just take responsibility from now and move forward. Hare Krishna. Okay. Jaya Vandana Ki Jaya. Okay, let's chant at least one kirtan, maybe two. Anything inspiring you, Mataji?
Oh. How about this one?
Okay.
What is it?
142. You don't have to sing. Okay. 142. Chosen by none of you, but I guess sung by me. Nimono Gauranga Vine Nahiyara. Heno prema para chara ecstatic love of Godhead is.
He did not kill the fallen, wicked-hearted blasphemers. Instead, he went from house to house, visiting them. He begged them to chant Lord Krishna's holy names. He gave them the holy names and purified their hearts.
To the world he freely gave the rare gift of ecstatic love of Godhead, a gift even Brahma and Shiva attain only with great difficulty. Attaining that gift, the poor people of this world danced and clapped their hands.
They laughed and wept. Overcome with ecstasy, they rolled on the ground. The hairs of their bodies stood erect. The Brahmins and Chandalas embraced. There was great bliss.
Loudly they called out the holy names, playing the mridangas and koratals. They sang, ran, and danced in a circle. Seeing all this, peaceful composure became afraid, fled, and knocked on people's doors.
Peaceful composure became afraid and knocked on people's doors. You want to read the next one down?
An auspicious tumult arose. The three worlds were filled with bliss. Premananda says, Alas, attachment for Lord Gauranga did not arise in me.
Okay, guys, everyone know what Ekadashi is? Today's a special day.
Mysterious
And a
day.
very special event.
Special.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Special day, special time. You know what it comes.
Okay. So Ekadashi is a day of the moon cycle. There are 15 days in a moon cycle. Amavasya is the first day, which means the new moon, the dark moon. That's one. On the 15th day is Purnima, which means the full moon. Ekadashi, Dasha means 10, Eko means 1. So Ekadashi is the 11th day of the moon. And it's considered to be a day of Lord Vishnu, of the Lord. And devotees are advised to fast on Ekadashi. And this is a particular, every Ekadashi has its own name, like every single Ekadashi in the 13-month lunar year. This is Amalaki Ekadashi, which is about the Amla tree. So in the Vedic histories and the Puranic histories, Purana literally just means ancient, but there's these ancient scriptures. And in the Brahmanda Purana, actually, it's described how this planet in the Vedic scriptures goes through many cycles of destruction. It's called pralaya. So everything on Earth is cyclical. Everything comes, and then there's a destruction, both on the Earth and also within the universe. So the Amala tree is an amazing tree, actually incredible tree. It's in Ayurvedic medicine. It has these beautiful fruits. It also has very beautiful kind of many small leaves, like one of those trees. But the Amala tree is said to be the first tree that came to the earth after the last pralaya. So many
What is pralaya?
a pralaya is like a cataclysm, and there's many different kinds of cataclysms that happen to the earth, and this is also reflected in many of the other stories around the earth. But the last cataclysm that came to earth was a huge flood. So after the submersion, but there are many before that, and there will be more after that. Okay. Huh? So the amla grows in South Asia, South and Southeast Asia right now. And it's part of Ayurveda. It's like incredibly medicinal fruit. It's, antioxidant, huge vitamin C content. It also has, it's like amazing for digestion. Yeah, I mean, it's part of one of the most amazing remedies you can buy, which is called Triphala, which is 3 fruits, but amla is one of them. It's also considered to be a rasayana fruit because there are 6 different components of taste. And the amla fruit has 5 of them.
Oh my God. Sweet and salty at the same time.
Sweet, no, not salt. Salty is the only one it doesn't have.
It doesn't have salt.
So it's sweet, sour, bitter,
Sour.
pungent, and
Astringent.
astringent. Thank you.
And Guru Maharaj take it every day.
Oh, really?
They like
Yeah,
put handfuls in their mouth.
Yeah, you can cut it up and just eat it. Put a little black salt on it, or you
we
can
eat it every day for
put
his
honey on it. It's an amazing fruit, like truly amazing. I mean, people like one of its famous things is like if you eat amla, like if you have gray hair, it'll go away. The gray hair will go away. It also is one of the only plants you can take to get collagen. So you don't need to get collagen from another being that has collagen, but you can take amla and grow collagen in your body. Anyways, it's an absolute miracle fruit. And so that fruit is described in the Puranas to be, that tree is described in the Puranas to be the first tree that came to earth after the last pralaya, thousands of years ago. So, and it's said that it is a tree that's a manifestation of the Lord's mercy, because it has all these wonderful fruits that have all these incredible properties. So that is the Ekadasi for today, is the Amalaki, thanks, my goodness, Ekadasi. And there's also a story, a famous story, which is also a Puranic story, that there was a person who was quite a sinful person, and he lived by traveling and killing animals, and then he would do different things with their bodies. And but he was also like a person that was cruel and had not been a great person in his life. His name isn't given in the story, but it's an Ekadasi story. But he came to a kingdom that was very, very auspicious, where everyone got along. And in that kingdom, everyone would fast on Ekadasi and then stay up all night in prayer on that night, which is like kind of this really like nice way to practice Ekadasi. And so he walked into the kingdom having walked all day. He walked into this like little city, having walked all day and not been successful finding anything. So he hadn't eaten anything all day. And then at night, everyone was staying in the temple and fasting and praying. And so he walked into the city and he found a corner and just took some shelter there. And in that way, he stayed up all night with the devotees listening to these prayers, and he had fasted all day. And then he went to, in the morning he received some sustenance from the inhabitants of that place. Then he went back to his village, and very soon after he died. And then it's described, and this happens very often in the Puranas, where they describe multiple lifetimes of a soul in their journey. So we're all in a multi-lifetime journey also, and we need to start to see our life in that way. See your life as much bigger than whatever your little, like, oh my God, like, you are an eternal being. See yourself on an eternal journey. But he died, and then in his next life, he was born as a prince, and he became, his heart was moved and touched by his practice and also by the grace of Ekadasi, and he was a very beautiful and noble king in his next life. And he received the mercy of Lord Vishnu to such an extent. And so it's said that at the end of that story, it says, even a person who has committed severe sins, by taking the mercy of Ekadasi, can have all of their sins washed and attain to a higher life, and then ultimately the divine life of service. So, very merciful day. Always Ekadasi, very merciful day. And some small sacrifice we make, a little fast, something. Try to remember the Lord and give some sacrifice on this day.
Where did you read the story?
There's a book that has like all the stories of the. It's called like, yeah.
The little red book?
No, well, I mean the one that I had was black, but I only have a soft copy version of it now.
I had a
So
red one.
what was
I don't know.
the name of the
I forget his name, but there is a name. It's like
Tari?
it's with a V. I don't remember exactly what his name is, but his name is given in the ancient story. The name of that prince, and also the name of the king and the city that the temple was in, and that was auspicious. That was there, and then he went and stayed in that temple and then received that mercy. So all that is given. But yeah, so that's today. Today's Ekadasi, and everyone can take some introspection and prayer, because all of us are in need of mercy, really. When you're so bound up in yourself, and you don't even understand how you got bound up, what to speak of understanding your own bindings. You're in need of a divine, helpful glance.
So I brought strawberries.
All right.
You guys could plant them if you want.
I did see those strawberries. I think they'll be offered. Yeah.
Yeah, we can offer them tonight.
Yeah. Thanks. That's a nice sacrifice, brother. Okay.
285.
285. So this is a song that is sung in the Mat every Ekadashi. 285.
Shri Hari Vasare Hari Kirtana
Shri Hari Vasare Hari Kirtana
once, on the auspicious day of Ekadashi, in the house of Srivas Pandit, Sriman Mahaprabhu inaugurated congregational Nam Sankirtan with great enthusiasm, accompanied by his devotees and associates.
Surging in divine ecstasy, Sriman Mahaprabhu, the life and soul of the universe, began to dance beautifully. The devotees surrounded him, being deeply touched and inspired by such an ecstatic moment. And they also began to dance and sing the holy name like Gopal, Govinda.
Can I just make a quick comment here? Because I didn't know this until very recently. I've been like obsessing a little bit on Ekadashi and the way that all the TTs are, the days are organized and the time is organized in the ancient Vedic culture. And Sri Harivasar is a time of day. So what you're supposed to do, what the traditional way of practicing Ekadashi is that you fast all day and you stay up all night. And Sri Harivasar is a time of day on Ekadashi that is before Brahma Muhurta. So it's the very early mornings. It's the very early part of the morning. So this is happening at Srivas Thakur's house, Srivasangam. And this is happening in the night before even Brahma Muhurta, deep in the night. So yeah, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. And this is when this song is happening at Sri Harivasar on Ekadashi night before the next Dwadashi morning. So anyways, just a clarification, because now you can envision a little bit. This is like late night.
Yeah, this is before Dwadashi, not before.
This is the night of Ekadashi. Yeah. Sri Harivasar is before Brahma Muhurta.
Which ushers in the next day.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. That's quite amazing, because in the West we have a very fixed idea of time, and in the Vedic culture, time is actually organized around what the universe is doing. So for example, the Vedic day doesn't start until sunrise. And noon is called Madhyana, but Madhyana is different every day because it actually is the exact middle of the day according to when sunrise and sunset are where you are. So all these times of day, they're all relative to what's happening in the universe around you, not just going noon, like 12 p.m. is noon. It's not like that. It's what's the middle of the day. That's what noon is. You know what I mean? And so it changes every single day. The Brahma Muhurta time changes every day. The Madhyana is the noon. So Madhyana changes every day. Sandhya is the evening, or the Sayana Sandhya, and that's changing every day. It's a different time according to what our Western time would be. Because it's all according to what's actually happening. So I just find that fascinating, because it's this very fluid idea of time that's based on what's happening in the world, rather than just this fixed idea of like these times a day. So anyway, a little bit off the topic, but the whole thing is just very amazing.
Which is difficult. That's why it's a little difficult to calculate when Ekadashi is in any particular place. It has to be done by a certain calculation.
Yeah, and right, and then there's two different days of the week. One is called the Var, which means the weekday, but then the Tithi is the moon day. And the moon, for example, today the moon rose at 2:06 p.m. Or the Tithi is the moon day. So
It's Madhava Tithi, right? Bhakti Janani Jadane
yeah.
So there's a day of when the moon rises and sets, and then there's a day of when the sun rises and sets.
So in this story, he stayed up all night.
Yes, but that's the tradition in Ekadashi, is that you fast in the daytime and then stay up all night in prayer. So this is happening in the middle of the night. This whole song that we're singing, there's a kirtan happening in the middle of the night, you could say. Okay, I just wanted to clarify that, because it's really it's very tasteful, very, very beautiful.
Verse 3, Hardu.
Combined sound vibrations of Mirdanga, temple bells, kartal, and shanka in harmony with the congregational singing and dancing, took everyone to the plane of transcendental delight.
The holy vibration of Sankirtan filled the sky and spread through the ether all over the cosmic universal existence. Thus, the atmosphere in all directions became purified and filled with auspiciousness by that divine sound.
It's actually, it will say there's another verse coming up where it talks about Sankirtan Yajna, but there's this notion in all faith actually that there is something divine as like a premise, right? And then you hear in different kinds of faith, like hallowed be thy name would be in Christianity, this idea that there's something very divine and holy that will purify if I come into contact with it. But this world of chanting actually is coming from the East, right? So to call his name, and they're calling his name, is actually very beautiful. And then what you can add is that this is a sacrifice. And it's very important to understand that sacrifice is a very important part of spiritual life. You know, what sacrifice means, like something's being burned, right? Something's being let go of, right? It's not like a sacrifice if it's just kind of simple and easy, right? Something's kind of like happening in sacrifice. And so the beginning sacrifice of Ekadasi is to not eat grains, right? And then what does that help you do if you do any kind of food change, which I believe, are you fasting all day, Elaine?
Only on Fridays.
Yeah, but you're well, it's enough. You happen to be fasting today, don't you?
Yes.
So.
Wow, that's wonderful, Elaine.
Are you doing it for Lent, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We only fast from meat during Lent.
Okay.
We can have like meat substitutes or even fish. You just can't be from
Yeah, cool.
cows or
So it's a sacrifice,
yes.
right? It's a sacrifice. You're starting to not eat something in the pursuit. And what happens when you start to sacrifice? You notice how much you eat, for one. And then you also notice that your time kind of opens up. Well, what are you going to do with that time? Well, what's recommended by the ancient sages is they're saying when you open up your time a little bit, try to meditate on what's going on in your life, right? Try to offer something, right? If you're not eating all day, you've opened up several hours of your day at minimum where you're not consuming calories, and you go, oh, I have some time, so I can do some service, right? So they're saying these kinds of days are very, very helpful to talk about spiritual life, where you take a little break from the endless consumption, right? And that's the thing with Lent is you're supposed to choose something you're kind of attached to, and then try and offer that into sacrifice. And what for what ultimately? For the pleasure of the Lord, right? That we will kind of leave something behind, and we hope to be transformed at the end of those 40 days or whatever that sacrifice is. So the Vaishnavas from the East are every couple weeks kind of performing the sacrifice. But then saying also on top of it, the holy vibration of Sankirtan filled the sky. So this is a very unusual practice to try and call out, right? If everything actually is consciousness, which the Vedas are saying, and you are a unit of consciousness, this idea of calling out towards the Lord, when someone calls your name, it pulls your attention. But it's just me. But you're trying to call towards something divine. And because the nature of the Lord we hear in all of the scriptures unequivocally, his nature is merciful, right? So you're trying to call on that merciful Lord and try to perform, if you think about it, it's the story. What does it mean? It means on Ekadasi, there's an inadvertent amount of mercy that's not in reciprocation with the level of sacrifice, okay? That's what it means. And so it's very hopeful because you're going, oh, if I perform a sacrifice on a day where the Lord's extra merciful, I might have a chance, because if I look at myself, I've got a lot of rough things that I need to sand out, right? And so it's considered an auspicious day because there's some extra kindness in the atmosphere. And then you're saying, oh, then this vibration is being called. So what is Sankirtan? Sankirtan's also a kind of sacrifice, right? You're using, you can say many words with your time, and you're deciding to say these things and call out in this way instead of doing so many other things with your day. And then what is the change? What's the transformation that starts to happen with this kind of soft-hearted calling out towards the Lord? That's what's being described in this type of kirtan, and it's considered to be a simple and highly sophisticated meditation in a certain sense, right? Because who are you calling to in the end? Right? The infinite source of all that exists, who wants good for you, who loves you more than you love yourself, right? So that's what kind of vibration the Vaishnavas are trying to come into alignment with, to serve, and to try to become a part of, right? That type of sacrifice.
Awesome.
So it's just such a cool verse.
So do you guys meditate too, or just chant? So I was chanting and meditating in my head earlier, and then when I opened my eyes, everything was black and white. So it kind of freaked me out because that's the first time that's happened to me.
Yeah.
There could be a lot going on.
Yeah, it's best just to meditate on the name of the Lord. Otherwise, the meditation will be either impersonal or just kind of trying to shut up your mind or just meditating on whatever comes through your mind. But the name, it's not, the real process of meditation given in the scriptures is practically impossible for us in this age, because the sages used to sit down and meditate for 10,000 years at a sitting.
Yeah.
That's the process of meditation in the previous age. But in this age, that meditation is like I was saying, an active calling out for the Lord's mercy and chanting the name, and actually way more powerful than regular meditation.
That's probably why, because usually I meditate just on silence or directing my
Yeah,
inner eye.
yeah. And
This
what's
time I
happening-
did like the Maha Mantra for
Yeah.
the first time in a while.
Yeah, I mean, the Lord is the source of everything. And there's nothing to compare with calling out to Him. So that is the highest medicine for the most needy persons. And that's what Mahaprabhu's mood is, to give the highest thing to those who are most needy. So this name, calling the name of the Lord, cannot be compared to any other thing recommended in the scriptures.
I couldn't stop laughing when I finished. I was just like,
What was that?
I couldn't stop laughing. I was like, why is everything black and white?
Oh.
2 minutes later, everything changed back to normal.
Yeah, okay, well, yeah, things can happen, that's for sure.
You know, sorry, 5, Reverend Monthly.
She's got the,
I did
she's
four.
waiting to read this.
She's 5.
Oh.
She's gonna get like the most Sanskrit in like any of the probably.
Okay.
In all 4 directions, the auspicious chanting of the Lord's name spread, and in the center of the sound vibration, the son of
Jagannath
Jagannath Mishra, Shriman
Mahaprabhu.
Mahaprabhu danced.
Hey.
Everyone was decorated with fragrant sandalwood paste and beautiful garlands. The most wonderful rhythmic sound arose from the dancing footsteps of Sriman Mahaprabhu, which captivated the minds of the devotees. As he continued dancing in his own self-born ecstasy, the swinging flower garlands around his neck began to fall, decorating the earth. The devotees beheld before their eyes this rare and precious, heart-captivating, ecstatic dance of the Supreme Tattva, Sri Gauranga, who is the most worshipable object of even the great personalities such as Lord Shiva, Sukha, Narada, and others.
Being totally overwhelmed and lost in the transcendental bliss of taking Mahaprabhu's holy name, Lord Shiva sometimes does not care for his formal appearance or obligation to retain his clothing, which sometimes falls down while he dances in ecstasy of loving devotion.
By chanting and meditating upon his holy name, Sri Valmiki became a great powerful rishi, and Jamila attained pure liberation.
As one hears and takes the holy name with devotion, embracing its holy potency within the core of their heart, their existence becomes totally purified, and they attain deliverance. Such is the Lord, the source of all incarnations, in his dancing form in this age of Kali.
The pure devotees, Sri Sukadev and Devarishi Narada, are always blissfully engaged in relishing the nectar of his holy name and distributing it to suitable jiva souls wherever they travel. Even Anantadev describes his unlimited glories with thousands of mouths. This is one of my favorite. This is one of my favorite verses. Sarva Maha Prayaschita.
Of all penances, the chanting of the holy name is supreme, and whoever sees the dancing of the Lord in his form as Sri Chaitanya is a supremely fortunate soul.
The two brothers, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, are my beloved masters and my life and soul. Thus Vrindavan Das sings this song of their glorification and devotionally offers it at their lotus feet.
Prayashchitta is a very interesting concept in Vedic society. For us, it may seem very foreign. Prayashchitta means atonement. And in Vedic society, there is an idea that if you do something wrong, you immediately atone for it. You don't back down, you don't try to get out of it, you don't try to, you don't plead not guilty, you know what I mean? Right? You just take responsibility and immediately undergo some penance, but voluntarily. So that idea that, oh, I've done wrong, let me atone for this, that's called prayashchitta. And what this song is saying is, Sarva Maha Prayashchitta means of all the great prayashchittas, the great penances and atonements that you can do, the best is just singing the name of God. Amazing idea. That actually the best thing you can do in any circumstance is just to sing the name of God.
And it's tempting to just chant,
Not realizing that you're calling a person. That you're calling for the mercy of the supremely merciful. And just, okay, I got just, like that. And forget that the name of the Lord and the Lord are the same thing. The Lord is there in his name, and we have to connect heart to heart with that name. Otherwise, it becomes just some kind of ritual. And anyway, we're trying.
Yeah.
And as we experience the necessary experiences of our lives, those are all good, actually. We're not trying to get out of that. Then that, and bowing down to those experiences as coming from the Lord, then that fact of the Lord's name being the Lord himself, a person that we're crying out to, that becomes more and more clear in our chanting and our necessity of taking shelter.
Okay, Vrindavan Thakur ki Jaya. Shri Hari Vasar Giti.
nice. We can sing Shuddha unless you want to just read or something.
I think we have a couple minutes and we can just see if there's any. Yeah. Huh?
Yeah.
So if you know something about this Ajamila.
Ajamil.
Yeah, there is Ajamila name.
Yes.
Do you know anything about that?
Yes.
That's
This is a story in Bhagavad Purana, one of the Puranas. Do you know this story, Shiva, or you want to hear the story?
I want to hear it again.
Uh-huh.
if someone-
Yeah. I mean, I can try, but Nani's like the perfect knower of Bhagavatam. But
I like this story so much.
It's an unusual story, actually.
I'm trying to remember, what did he name his son? Narayan. Yeah. That was a hard one to remember. But there was, the story of Ajamila is once there was a man, he was as a brahmana. And he followed his practice very nicely, but and one day he saw a woman. No, he was until.
Oh, well. Too fast, too soon.
Until one day he saw a prostitute, and she absolutely captivated his mind, and he left all of his responsibilities and became completely addicted to being with her. And eventually he left his practice and he left his position and he gave everything up because he was so attracted to the enjoyment that he was having with this person. And he became what is called in Sanskrit a Vishayi. A Vishayi means a person who has no other purpose in their life except to gratify their senses. Now that's kind of like everyone nowadays, but at that time it was like, oh my God. But, yeah, right. Now it's like, yeah, now you're the most successful person if that's what you do with your life. But at that time it was like a complete falling down, and he eventually gave his life in service to that prostitute. He built her a house, he stayed with her, and eventually he had eventually he became because of his intense greed that he gave into, then he became very greedy for money, and he became kind of like a criminal character, and he would kill people and extort people, and really he became quite lost. But he had a son with this prostitute that he became very, very attached with, and that son came when he was an older man. So he was old man, but he had a young son. And that son, from some long memory of the old hymn, he named that son Narayan, which is the name of God. And he was always completely attached and loved that son very, very much. But at the same time, his body is aging, and the doorway's coming. And at the time of his death, he felt that his death was coming. The body starts shutting down, and fear overcame and gripped him. And the sense of loss gripped him. And he began to call out with full emotion and sincerity the name of his son. Right? And he's saying Narayana, Narayana. And in the Vedic understanding, if someone has done much wrong in their life, then they have to pay some penance in a hellish place. Not permanently, but they have to pay for what they did. Exactly the amount. And there are the servants of Yamaraj. Yamaraj is like the universal judge, you can say. And the servants of Yamaraj come to take that subtle body and put it into a position of atoning, suffering for their crimes. So those servants of Yamaraj are called Yamadutas, and the Yamadutas are coming to take him out of his body. And he's terrified, and also realizing everything that he was attached to is leaving. And he's calling his son. He wants to see his son one more time. And he's calling Narayan, Narayan. Narayan with all his heart. And by calling that name of the Lord at the time of his death, the servants of Vishnu are coming. And they're called Vishnudutas. And there's a beautiful conversation between the Yamadutas. They're like, no, he's ours. He's got to suffer. He was horrible. He was terrible. And the Vishnudutas are coming. No, he called the name of the Lord with sincerity. So now he's coming with us. And then, again, like many stories, that his next lifetime, they save him from that hellish position. His next lifetime, he's again born on the earth planet, but in a completely different state of consciousness. And he lives a perfectly ideal life of of prayer and service. And this return to his relationship with the Lord. But that's the example that's given here, is just by calling the name of the Lord. Ajamilas.
Even though
He's saved by
he's
that.
calling his,
Even though he's calling with not so perfect intention.
right, he's calling his son, but he wasn't calling with any duplicity.
Yeah.
So his son had to deal with the karma.
No, not like that. It's not like that. Everyone has their own relationship. It's not like there's like a ball of karma that now needs to go somewhere. God is God. He's not bound by anything. He can give mercy. Hare Krishna. Anyways, that's the story, Shiva. And that's Ajamila. And that's the potency of a real sincere call of the names of God. And you can see every religion in the world ultimately is doing that, singing some hymn in praise of the Lord. Hare Krishna. Very nice question. Anything else, any other topic that anyone wants to bring up or talk about? Thought, question, comment?
Srila Prabhupada told that story once at the Kumbh Mela.
Mm.
He went to the Kumbh Mela with a lot of disciples. And when we heard, he was telling this story, but it took him 3 days to finish it because it was so overwhelming.
Oh.
Because Lord Narayan knows everything.
Mm.
And he's saying, he's calling me. He's calling me. Go and get him. And the Yamadutas are saying, no, he was calling his son. He wasn't calling for Narayan. This was your mistake and he has to be punished. And they said, no, you don't know anything. What's the matter with you? By calling the name with tears in his eyes, Narayan is just saying, no, he's mine. And Prabhupada had a really hard time getting past that point. The devotees were telling us when they came back. Because it's so touching. He's so affectionate. Anyway.
Very nice. Nice remembrance. Thank you, Nani. Okay. Anything else? Anybody? Okay, we can Prabhuji.
Is that why the spiritual master gives us some as a name in the name of the Lord?
Yes, that is why. But he's giving something more than that. He's also giving connection to real bhakti. Because to call the Lord's name, generally we have all kinds of agendas, even unconsciously in our mind. We want this, we want that, We always have some, we're born in a very small mindset, really small little world that we live in, with really small little cares and desires. And even when someone comes into a relationship with God, they're generally making some really small little selfish prayer, right? Oh God, I want this, God, I want that, And even they don't even know what is possible to want. They're just wanting within their little sphere, right? So to make a real prayer to God is actually quite difficult, because we are always praying from the little tiny perspective that we have, right? We don't have a real prayer, and it's usually some type of selfish thing. God, I want this. Could you please do that for me? But it's like if you have a genie, you know what I mean? Like people are always, like a genie comes in front of the, like in the old stories, the genie comes and you can just ask him for anything. And they just have some little thing on their mind, and it's like, well, I want that, right? And even if you think big, it's like, somebody will be like, well, it's like you see that what's that Austin Powers movie? When he's got like the UN there and he's just like, I want $1 million. And everyone's like, right? And he's like, oh, $1 billion. But that's like us with God, It's like, could I have like like a house, like whatever. It's just like these little. It's like you're talking to the cause of all causes, And you have some little selfish prayer. But actually the most valuable thing is love for the Lord. So when the devotee is giving that name to you, he's giving it in the line of bhakti, in the line of devotion, so that you learn how to approach the Lord. The most valuable thing is the Lord's heart. And you're asking for stuff. No, offer yourself to Him. Guru Maharaj says, give heart, get heart. You give your little heart, you get the heart of the Lord in return. That's His nature. Actually learn how to love and call His name in love. So not just the name, but the line of gurus, the line of devotees, and that consciousness, that vibration, that thread is being given to you, that chance. Hare Krishna.
A new name is also, there's a suffix on every name, right? Das or Dasi. So it's an identity. So what you're getting is like an identity that I'm here to serve. That's what Das means, I'm the servant. And so then there's some meaning to the name, and then you're the servant of that energy. Right? Like, so Raikishori Dasi is not Raikishori, and it's Raikishori Dasi, so it's the servant of that goddess who is always at the perfect age. Right? So it's an identity to start to relate and hear that as part of your name. Right? And so they're saying, like, in serving, you'll actually be set free. Right? Because it's not a lie, actually, that in the truth you will be set free. But how do we come into contact with the truth? Is we have to try and actually have some reciprocal nature with the truth, which has to be verily a kind of service relationship. So then we will be set free from ourselves. So it's an identity also. And they say also the world of initiation is we're trying towards the environment in some kind of way, and that moment is where the other side is reciprocating in some kind of way. So that's the beginning of, you can say that's like a gateway or a beginning journey. So the other side is reciprocating and we're taking on some identity. And an identity is actually a very important aspect of being a human, right? But we don't want to identify with the superficial parts of ourselves, right? Like, we're lost if we think the most important thing is our skin color or our race or our sex or our monetary status or like where we live. Those are not like the most important things, right? Those are like literally, not metaphorically, literally the most superficial parts of us, right? So that identity of being in consonance with the environment is a very deep identity, actually. And so that's also what's happening when this kind of like transformative name is arriving.
Thanks, Ryan.
May I
Okay.
say something real quick?
Please, bro.
You want to?
So before we get in contact with Krishna consciousness, I was having an identity problem. Because where I'm from, like South America, my ancestors were conquered by Spaniards.
Yes.
And there are many Catholic churches in every little town in Ecuador. So you don't really have access to like where actually you're coming from. So I've always wondered, like, who am I? And if I found interesting the idea, and actually the fact that if you don't know like who you are, you don't know what is your purpose or where you're going to. So I find the gift of the spiritual master of Gurudev like a miracle for me, because not only they reminded me like my identity.
Well, your
Any identity.
Your identity doesn't have anything to do with being Ecuadorian.
Yeah.
The eternal identity, the soul, like that identity.
Right, yeah. Who I actually am.
Yeah.
So actually, like, it's a miracle that I have been given purpose, like the ultimate purpose of life. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing, and he doesn't have to do with stuff, which all my life I thought he had to do with stuff.
It was stuff, I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like the whole drumbeat. You just don't have enough stuff. If you just had a little more stuff, a little better stuff, you'd finally be full.
Oh, this is what you're billion times, and we're still hungry. But we don't notice, because that's all there is, until we have some divine sound that tells us about reality. That sound is the reality coming, and it's coming through the spiritual master. Then we, become connected and familiar with reality, and that is not all these stupid lies. Oh, sorry, that was all I was going to say.
Okay. All right, Jai. Thanks, everybody.
But there is something more that we need, or want, and we should strive for. That's what devotion,
Yeah.
that's what we strive for.
Certainly, for sure.
Yes.
That's what giving your heart to the Lord is, some type of real offering. Maybe one day. Okay.
You're
Thank
saying
you
the
for-
desire is not killed, desire is purified.
Yes,
right?
desire is purified, yeah. Okay. Jai Nam Sankirtan ki Jai. Jai. Madhava Ekadasi ki Titi ki Jai. Jai. All the devotees ki Jai. Rupana Guruvara ki Jai. And thanks everybody for participating in the search for truth and real life on Friday night. And Lent ki Jai. Go for it.
Haribo. Bima Krishna Prabhu is present also. It's a beautiful discussion
Love being all.
in Kalyani Didi.
Jai Kalyani Dandavad. And at some point, we're gonna have to go there and visit him. I know it's gonna happen someday.
Where's that, in Washington?
He lives in Northern California, near Eureka, in a beautiful piece of land in the woods, the redwoods. It's pretty stunning.
We're gonna have to go.
Yeah, yeah.